Imagine standing in a flat, sun-bleached desert where nothing about the surface suggests wealth. The air is dry, the heat is absolute, and for as far as the eye can see, there is only the shifting silence of the Kyzylkum desert. Yet, directly beneath your feet lies a geological anomaly that defies the very laws of nature. You are standing on more gold than any other single place on Earth has ever held. This isn't just a mine, it is Muruntau. It is a system so vast, so concentrated, and so fundamentally massive that its footprint is visible from the cold vacuum of space. For centuries, the legendary traders of the Silk Road led their caravans directly over this hidden empire, completely unaware that the dust on their sandals was worth billions of dollars. They were walking across a geological engine that had been refining wealth for millions of years, hidden in plain sight. Muruntau is a name that commands a unique kind of respect in the world of geology. It doesn't announce itself with glittering veins or dramatic mountain peaks. It hides its scale so completely that for most of human history, no one suspected the magnitude of what lay beneath the sand. Even experienced geologists, when first presented with the data, struggled to believe the numbers. This single deposit, buried in the heart of Uzbekistan, contains more gold than any other individual deposit ever discovered. What makes Muruntau exceptional isn't just its size, it's that it breaks the traditional rules of how gold is supposed to form without breaking the laws of physics. It is the result of a perfect storm of ancient ocean landslides, colliding mountain ranges, and a 60-million-year geological marathon that created a gold-trapping engine that has never been replicated anywhere else on the planet. The discovery of this giant was not a matter of luck or a lone prospector finding a shiny rock in a stream. It was a victory of pure science. In the mid-20th century, as the Soviet Union sought to map its vast territories, geologists began conducting systematic regional surveys across the desert. They weren't looking for visible gold, they were looking for ghosts. By collecting thousands of samples and measuring trace elements, they discovered an enormous gold arsenic anomaly spread across a wide area. Arsenic is a classic pathfinder element. It travels with gold-bearing fluids like a shadow. When the follow-up mapping revealed quartz veins at the surface, it became clear that this wasn't just a small prospect. But even then, the true scale remained elusive. Early drilling just kept hitting gold. Instead of thinning out with depth, the system seemed to expand, revealing a volume of ore that moved the goalposts for what a gold mine could be. By the time mining began in 1967, Muruntau was recognized as extraordinary, though few realized it would eventually be crowned the largest single gold deposit in history. To understand how Muruntau became so wealthy, we have to look back nearly 450 million years to a time when this desert was the bottom of a deep, turbulent ocean. The foundation of Muruntau is built on ancient sedimentary rocks known as flysch. These are thick piles of sandstones and siltstones dumped rapidly into ocean basins by massive underwater landslides. These rocks aren't glamorous, but they are mechanically complex and chemically reactive. They acted as a giant, porous sponge, waiting for the right moment in history to be filled. That moment came when the Earth's crust began to buckle. A colossal tectonic collision built the South Tian Shan mountain belt, shoving these ocean sediments deep into the crust. They were pushed down into a specific environment known as the brittle ductile transition zone. At this depth, the rocks are neither fully solid nor fully liquid. They exist in a state where they repeatedly crack and seal, pumping fluids through the crust like a slow, rhythmic hydraulic engine. This is the sweet spot for moving gold, and Muruntau sat directly in the center of the piston. However, depth alone doesn't create a world-class giant. You need structure. Muruntau lies at the precise intersection of two planetary-scale fault systems. One system runs east to west, tied to the closure of an ancient ocean, while the other cuts across it at a steep, jarring angle. Where these faults intersected, the crust was repeatedly stretched and torn open. This created a long-lived dilational zone, essentially a natural pressure release valve. It was a place where gold-bearing fluids, rising from the deep crust, could finally slow down, pool, and react with the surrounding rocks. To make the trap even more efficient, the rocks folded into a massive, arch-shaped structure called an anticline. This acted like an inverted funnel, focusing every drop of mineral-rich fluid into the same volume of rock over and over again. While most gold systems get one chance to deposit their wealth before the plumbing seals up, Muruntau's plumbing stayed open for an eternity. Then came the heat. Around 300 million years ago, a massive thermal event sent plumes of magma pushing into the crust. While the magma itself didn't bring all the gold, it acted as a massive battery, heating the surrounding rocks and baking them into a hard, brittle shell called hornfels. This shell was crucial. Because it was so hard, it resisted the pressure of the earth, forcing fractures to stay open and directing fluids exactly where the chemistry was most favorable. This is where Muruntau starts to blur the lines between different types of geology. It is a hybrid system. Some evidence suggests it formed during mountain building, while other signs point to heat from deep intrusions. Isotopic signatures even hint that some of the fluids may have risen from the Earth's mantle, the deep, hot layer beneath the crust. Muruntau didn't choose one method. It borrowed efficiency from every system it touched, stacking them on top of one another to maximize its output. One of the most overlooked factors in the creation of a gold giant is the presence of sulfur. Gold needs sulfur to stay in solution and, more importantly, to precipitate out of that solution and become solid. In many deposits, the gold stops forming because the system runs out of sulfur. Muruntau had a cheat code. It was located near an ancient rift basin filled with evaporates, minerals left behind when seawater evaporates. When these minerals were heated by the Earth's internal fires, they released massive amounts of sulfur. This sulfur acted as a chemical trigger, forcing the gold-bearing fluids to drop their precious cargo in massive quantities. This wasn't a one-time event. Radiometric dating shows that the gold-related activity at Muruntau spanned an incredible 60 million years. This is a geological marathon. While most gold deposits are formed in a few 100,000 years, Muruntau was being constantly topped up, reactivated, and replenished by the moving earth for millions of generations. The sheer scale of the operation today is a testament to this ancient history. The open pit is a gargantuan amphitheater of industry, stretching 3.5 kilometers across and plunging over half a kilometer into the earth. It is a place where massive haul trucks, the size of houses, look like tiny ants crawling along the rim. Every year, this single mine produces around 2 million ounces of gold. To put that in perspective, that's nearly $10 billion worth of gold being pulled from a single hole in the ground every 12 months. And the most incredible part? We still haven't found the bottom. The system continues far below the current pit floor, transitioning into underground resources that could sustain the mine for decades, if not centuries, to come. What we learn from Muruntau is that nature doesn't always follow the neat categories we try to put it in. We like to classify mines into types, but Muruntau is a singular event. It represents the upper limit of what the Earth's crust is capable of doing when everything goes right. It had the right host rocks to act as a sponge, the right faults to act as a pathway, the right heat to keep the fluids moving, the right chemistry to trigger the gold, and most importantly, the incredible luxury of time. It is a contiguous system that concentrated thousands of tons of gold into one single massive trap. It is a reminder that beneath the quiet, sun-bleached sands of the desert, the earth is still a place of violent, beautiful, and staggering complexity. Muruntau is a geological masterpiece, a perfect storm of planetary forces that created the greatest treasure chest the world has ever known. It stands as a silent monument to the power of the earth to concentrate value on a scale that humbles human ambition. As the sun sets over the Kyzylkum desert, casting long shadows across the massive terraces of the pit, the lights of the machinery begin to twinkle like a second city in the wilderness. The work never stops because the prize is too great to ignore. Muruntau is a once-in-a-planet occurrence, a testament to what happens when nature decides to build something perfectly and never repeat it again. It is the king of mines, the ultimate anomaly, and the largest golden heart ever discovered, beating within the crust of our world.